Hey there folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghost Riders here. This week, one of the last real gunfighters of the Old West.
Pew!
With sound effects. Let's roll the film.
Saddle up, saddle up, saddle up, saddle up, saddle up.
Recently, we did an episode on the Arizona Rangers. While uncovering their history, I became fascinated with a particular law dog named Jeff Kidder. In the waning days of the Old West, the Rangers were formed to clean up the outlaw element in Arizona. Not only did they do it, but in the 8 years of service only lost 2 men. All of the men could ride, shoot, and were tough as boot leather. One of them was considered a true gunfighter, a man who never hesitated to use his gun and hit what he aimed at. Jeff Kidder was born in Vermilion, South Dakota on November 15, 1875. Growing up, he read dime novels about gunfighters and dreamed of becoming one. As soon as he was old enough to hold a gun, he started packing a 6-shooter. Young Jeff used the money from his post office job to buy ammunition so he could practice daily. At age 25, he moved to Arizona Territory and eventually enlisted as an Arizona Ranger. One historian called Kidder the gun-crazy native of South Dakota who would prove to be the most notable of his group of recruits. Jeff carried a silver-plated engraved Colt 45 with a 5.5-inch barrel that he could get out of the holster faster than any other Ranger. In true Marty Robbins fashion, this Ranger carried a big iron on his hip, and he continued to practice with it daily. He also traveled with a Chihuahua named Jip.
Go ahead. Make my day.
In 1904, he used his gun to whack 3 townsfolk over the head outside a saloon. Apparently, Jeff got a little hot-headed when he drank, and with little provocation buffaloed the men. This turned into a media circus, and briefly earned him a pretty bad reputation. Regardless, he was taking down rustlers, smugglers, and other ne'er-do-wells. He was one of the few Rangers that had permission to do duty across the border. However, he angered some Mexican officers when he shot a gun runner in the arm. That's some foreshadowing right there. You'll see. In 1906, Kidder was stationed in Douglas. One rainy night, he caught a suspicious rapscallion sneaking out of a building and told him to hold up. The perpetrator wheeled around, drew his gun, and snapped off a quick, unaimed round. Kidder immediately pulled his Colt and shot the miscreant right in the eye. Or did he shoot him in the right eye? Maybe he shot him right in the right eye. I think that's right.
I'm gonna blow your head off. It's as simple as that.
Captain Wheeler said, Jeff Kidder was one of the best officers who ever stepped foot in this section of the country. He did not know what fear was.
Who are you taking with you?
Nobody?
You mean you're going alone? Just one man?
They only stole 1 horse, didn't they?
Ranger Jim Pierce said of Kidder, a gunman as well as a lawman who in a pinch would shoot first and ask the questions later on, if there was anybody left to answer them. On April 3, 1908, Sergeant Jeff Kidder got into a scrape in Mexico with dire consequences. I have asked fellow YouTuber Greg at Lion Quest Fitness to help explain the shooting. Greg is a 20-year veteran of law enforcement, and like old Jeff Kidder, practices self-defense with his carry firearms and has done research on this gunfight. So, how did it go down, Greg?
Jeff got dressed to go across the border to the Sonora side of Naco. And he took that single-action Colt, put it in his waistband, and then he took 6 extra cartridges he put in his pocket, trying to keep a low profile. He went across the border, had a meal, and then he went to a prostitute, saloon girl, soiled dove named Chia. So around midnight, her and Jeff had a tryst, a dalliance.
That's one thing I know about.
As he was getting dressed, he noticed that a silver coin, a silver dollar he kept in his waistband was missing. he accused Chia of taking that silver dollar. He may have even grabbed her and said, "Hey, where's my coin?" And Chia began fighting and screaming, "Policia! Policia! Come! Come!" And at that very moment, two Naco, Sonora police officers burst in, guns blazing. Jeff was hit, slumping to the ground, shot in the abdomen, drew his gun, shot both of the Naco police officers, then started to make his way the 300 yards to get back across the border. However, by this time, there were other Naco policemen there, including their chief. There was also an angry mob of citizens armed with rifles coming after Jeff Kidder. And he tried to get away and fight his way and hold that angry mob off. But finally, he exhausted the rounds that he had, the 3 he had left and the 6 in his pocket. He knew that he was wounded mortally. And he said, "I'm all in, I'm all in." So as Jeff surrendered, the police rushed in and pistol whipped him. And someone with a rifle crashed the butt of the rifle into his skull. They drugged Jeff to the local jail, took all his possessions and threw him on the floor. Needless to say, emotions were very high that night.
Ooh, I bet they were, Greg. What a horrible situation for our ranger to be in. Thanks so much for your help on this. I urge you all to go check out Lion Quest Fitness for health, fitness, and self-defense techniques. Link is in the description field below. Now, back to Sergeant Kidder. A deputy U.S. Marshal and some others went down and took a statement from Jeff before he passed away 2 days later. The Mexican authorities weren't going to release the body, but did so to avoid an international incident. I guess they didn't want to risk answering to a ranger company of seasoned gunmen. Sergeant Jeff Kidder's body is buried in Los Angeles, California. His ever-faithful dog Jip was by his side through his last days, and was so distraught over Kidder's death that the Rangers later shipped him to California to be closer to his master's remains. To be a gunman in the West, you had to be able to shoot fast and straight and throw fear aside.
Spare one more cigarro.
I tip my hat to you, Sergeant Kidder. You were the real deal.
Come and get it.
Well, folks, that's it for another episode. Thanks for watching. By the way, we still have a merchandise sale, 25% off until Labor Day. Go check that out. Hey, and if you're interested in Patreon, it's like $3 a month, and we're doing behind the scenes, we're doing locations, like this location right here, which is the Transportation Museum, the old train depot. Well, that's it. That's all I got to say.
And trivia.
And trivia?
And
We're doing trivia?
well, like whatever people might want to know about us.
Oh yeah, right. About us. Right. Yeah, the Ghost Riders. Oh, that's it. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe.
And we'll see you on down the trail. Go ahead, baby.
No, you did it.